What's up, YouTube? So I'm on a 4-hour road trip. I thought I would just make some quick informational videos, like answering questions that I get all the time. One of which is like, what do you need to make your MRS ready for track? And yeah, I'll answer that. Probably like a top 5 things you need for track. I'm not gonna include things that are obvious, like tires and brakes. Like every single track car needs that. You need tires, brakes, brake fluid. But yeah, so specifically to the MRS, the first thing I would address is you need to have something for oil starvation and monitoring oil temp. So first thing I would do is get a baffled oil pan. If you're tracking an MRS, these cars do not have a good baffle or sump system. These are like economy cars going backwards, so you definitely need a baffled oil pan. People will say you can use a 1ZZ pan, but that's not true. The 1ZZ pan has a little windage tray, but those are not baffle doors, and that's not going to do anything if you're actually going fast and cornering hard with good tires. Yeah, so that's the number one thing I would do. It's kind of in that same thing as far as monitoring your oil is. I would get oil pressure and oil temp gauge just to keep an eye on things for as far as oiling in the car, and then of course stay on top of the actual oil level. Next thing I would do, especially if you're 2ZZ, is get a catch can system. The 2ZZ will have blow by, especially if you're racing around, so you're going to need that. And if you do a catch can system, ideally you want it to go back into the oil pan. That's what I have, that's what Techno-Pro Spirit has, and all the other fast 2ZZ MRSs that were in the US had. Also, I guess we're going to be a little bit more specific to 2ZZ. For 2ZZ, you also need a billet oil pump. If you're going to be beating on the motor, you need a billet oil pump. People will say you need one only if you miss shift, but that's not true either. Mine blew up with a detuned red line. Like mine was at 8100 and the oil pump still broke because I believed what people said. But if you ask anyone that pushes really hard, you need a billet oil pump for your 2ZZ. Yeah, and then next thing I would do is, again, having to do with oil, is have an oil cooler. If you don't have an oil cooler, really monitor your oil temps, because it's not related to your coolant temperature, and there's no like water cool thing on the 2ZZ, at least most of them. A lot of Hondas, like the S2000 and K20, have like a water line, so they're getting cooled by the water system, and also helping the motor heat up. But Toyota or Yamaha didn't do that, so your oil temperature could be spiking and you're not getting the right amount of lubrication to the bearings, so you need to watch your oil temperature at the bare minimum. Another thing you have to do for the MRS if you're pushing is you're going to need to have some kind of fuel starvation mitigation thing. I have a Holley fuel sock so that the car doesn't starve in corners. Yeah, your car's gonna starve if you don't have anything. I don't know if they sell a baffle, I don't think so. I just have a fuel sock that stops the car from starving in corners. And yeah, that's pretty much all of it. I think if you're in California, or if it's really hot, I guess Japan is really hot and they have a stock radiator, but I would still put an aftermarket radiator if you're somewhere really hot. I don't have one, but that's probably on my list of things that I'm gonna do. And yeah, those are my top things for MRS or 2ZZ MRS. All in all, it's pretty much just to monitor oil pressure, oil temp, mitigate oil pressure, oil temp problems, and then fuel starvation. Yeah, those are things that you're going to run into. Let's see. Another thing you want to do that I've done is the rear wheel hubs can have issues or get loose. torque setting is 159 foot-pounds, but mine's like 200 something plus. I just really crank it down and I haven't had an issue ever again so far, knock on wood. So you might want to turn up the torque on your rear wheel bearing. 159 is definitely not enough. Yeah, so that's all, guys. Those are some things specific to tracking MRSs that I would recommend. Of course, you still have to do all the basics, like I said at the start: brake fluid, your brakes, you need good pads, and tires are the most important for performance. So 200 tread wear probably at the very least if you're taking tracking seriously. Yeah, anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed that quick video. I'll probably make a couple of these before the road trip ends. But anyways, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.